elements that we're going to need for our broadcast, our PowerPoint, our website, and our Zoom meeting, we're going to actually bring them in and build the scenes we're going to use during our live workshop. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the scene that we've been building all along this program, the base scene. For you, you pick your colors, your background, your logos. For me, this is what we built as we went through all understanding sources and went through building our first couple scenes. So first thing I want to do is have a scene that has me with my PowerPoint. So to do that, I'm going to go to the base scene. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to go to duplicate, and I'm going to call it base scene with PowerPoint. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, I want to bring this into here, so I'm going to go to plus in sources, add a source. I'm going to go to display capture. Display capture, not window capture, display capture. And I'm going to call this PowerPoint. When I hit OK, it's going to look at the desktop. Now, this is my desktop that I'm over to the left-hand side. It's display 1. You may only have one display. You may have 2 or 3. I'm looking for primary monitor. You may only have one choice, and this may come up. Now, this looks a little crazy. In fact, you can see it's parallaxing. Everything disappeared. This is how it's supposed to look. You're perfectly fine. Just hit OK. And what we do is now we'll look at, well, this is an exact replica of the entire desktop. So we're actually going to minimize this so you can see more and more how it's actually going to look. Well, that's pretty cool. So now I want just this. I want just the PowerPoint isolated. So I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to bring my crop in just to cut exactly the PowerPoint. Hold Alt again and bring in just the PowerPoint. Now I'll drag it over, having let go of Alt. I will expand it so it's big enough to be able to see, read, and I'll bring it just over my shoulder. And if you look, there's 2 places I want to fix. Not because I'm a perfectionist, just because I want it to look really, really nice. First one I'm going to do is crop a little more on that left side and a little more on the bottom. And now when I look at it, well, that looks pretty good. And now as I want to present my PowerPoint, but you know what? It's my shoulder's behind it. So if I want to fix that, I grab PowerPoint and sources and I drop it behind the dime cam, and now I'm in front of it. I want to make it a little bigger. I'm right there. Now, so it would be now me presenting my PowerPoint, and all I would do is I would bring my mouse over to the actual PowerPoint. I'd click on it so that you can see the color change on the desktop, and now I would use my right arrows to advance my PowerPoint as I went through. I could go back, but I have full control of my PowerPoint right now. That's the PowerPoint slide. We'll need that slide. Now we're going to build the scene that is going to have the website. And so I'm going to go into base scene with PowerPoint. I'm going to right-click duplicate. I'm going to call it, instead of base scene with PowerPoint, I'm going to call it base scene with web browser. And the reason I call it web browser is because you notice we have 2 tabs at the top. So one web browser will handle both websites we want to take people to. Now, as I do, I am going to get rid of the PowerPoint display that I already have on here. Display capture. Yes, gone. I'm going to add another one. And I'm going to add display capture. It's going to be very much the same as it was before, but this time I'm going to call it web browser. Hit OK. And I'm going to make sure I click on primary monitor. Again, you may or may not have to do this. I'm going to shrink it down to size. And now I want to isolate just my website. So I hold Alt. I move my squares down to just cover the website. I actually like getting rid of the display of the toolbar too on the website so it's clean. No one can see where you are. And now I can expand it to be exactly where I want it to be. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that because I have those 3 dots, it's formatted correctly. Watch if I wouldn't have had, if I would left this 100% like it was, it'd be almost impossible to actually have the website big enough for anyone to be able to see and interact with. So by clicking on the 3 dots and bringing it down to 33%, I have a website that I can work with. And as I'm going to bring it behind my shoulder too. And now as I click here and I scroll, I'm actually interacting with my website exactly as it needs to be. This happens to be the application page. No problem. If I go to the actual website, all I have to do on my desktop is click on tab, and now I'm instantly and automatically on my actual website. So it depends on where I want to take them, but I am good to go. So that's this scene. We're going to do another one now where we want to bring in the Zoom wall. So I'm going to right click on my base scene I just created. I'm going to hit duplicate. I'm going to call it base scene with zoom. And now that I do that, I hit OK. I'm going to get rid of the web browser that I brought in under sources. Yes, I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to add the display capture back. This time we'll call it zoom. Hit OK. And click on my primary monitor. We get that weird looking screen that really creeps us out a little bit. So I shorten it down. And now I'm looking to just grab my Zoom meeting. I'm going to hold Alt and crop around just my Zoom meeting. Now I'm going to hit play on this video for effect so you can see what it actually looks like. And this is what it would be like with you and your Zoom meeting. But I want to change something up a little bit. I want some movement. So I'm going to bring the Zoom meeting here, and I'm going to bring my picture to the other side. So now I'm talking to my Zoom meeting, but I'm doing so from the other side with the dime cam in front. So now I can address the Zoom meeting, look at them and talk to them, and I can do some really cool stuff with this. I can talk to them, I can have interaction with them, I can have them raise their hand. And look right here, there's a little bit off on that top. So hold Alt, drag it down a little bit, and we're good to go. So that's how that would look. So now I have the scenes that I can go from the base scene into the PowerPoint. Oh, in the base scene, I want to make myself a little bigger in the base scene, which is perfectly fine. That's how you're going to introduce yourself, how you're going to come into the scene. You're good to go. I can bring my PowerPoint and interact with my PowerPoint. I can bring up different things that I need to. And then I can switch over and I can bring in the Zoom wall. And I can talk to the audience. And then I can bring them to a web browser, change the web browser, bring it back and take them through exactly what I want them to see. But there's one more view that I think is critical that has a ton of engagement. And that's when I can bring in my PowerPoint with my Zoom wall in the same screen. So we're going to go to click on base scene with PowerPoint. I'm going to right click and click duplicate again. And I'm going to call it base scene with PowerPoint and Zoom. Now for a scene like this, I'm going to have to shrink my PowerPoint down a little bit. I'm going to bring myself into the middle and probably have to go a little smaller myself. I'll be right in the middle between the two. And you see this little white dash? That's just my green screen not being perfect behind me. So I'm just going to crop that out a little bit. Good, it's gone. So here's PowerPoint. You can see it's already set up to go behind me. We're going to bring Zoom wall into this area here. So I'm going to add a display capture. I already have one done for Zoom, so I click Add Existing. I click on Zoom. I hit OK. I do have to do this the first time through where I shrink it. I'm going to isolate the Zoom wall by holding Alt, cropping down exactly where I want it to be. And now I have my Zoom meeting and my PowerPoint in the same slide, same screen. So I'm going to bring Zoom behind my camera, so I'm in front of that too. And now as I present my PowerPoint, I'm doing so and able to engage with the audience. So it's a pretty unique piece to be able to bring things in, talk them through things, hang on points, be able to really talk about each one as you go through. And I can go back and now just talk to the Zoom scene, really land on the point. If I really want to land on the point, I go back to the base scene. I can really linger here for a moment to really make sure people understood it before I go back to bring in both and before I go back to bring in just the PowerPoint as I continue. So all great scenes to work with. And in the next module, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to show this to you again in a faster pace, showing you that the next time you bring this all up, now that your scenes are created, it's so much easier. All the adjustments are done so long as you follow the template. And then the module after that, I want you to look at the hotkeys. Those will be our transitional keys so that with one touch of a button, you don't need to look down and find the scene to change it. You'll be able to do it with one touch without looking. So those are what we're going to build next. Get to this point. Get these scenes built so that you can keep up and you can go with a step-by-step to your ultimate goal of broadcasting your message to the world.